you know, soft spot healing well on the baby. Because these joints at that time, they were pretty movable. And so when the baby was born, when the fetus was born, these bones more or less came together to allow the head to pass through. But then in the first couple of months, as the baby's growing, they become more or less fixed as they start growing out.
And that would just tie in with the pubic symphysis because, well, no, as far as childbirth, because this is what has to give to let the baby out.
So that's the symphysis. So that's a cartilaginous one, so it's the second type. So this is the symphysis. So when you're talking about the pubic symphysis, this is the symphysis. So an example of a symphysis is the pubic symphysis. And it's a different type. So that one was fibrous, this one is cartilaginous, cartilage. Made up of cartilage.
Okay, so these are just different types of tissue that keep this stuff together.
Syndesmosis. Not 100% sure. That's symphysis. On the table, you have 4-2. You want to go to table 4-2? So 1 and 4. So tibia to table. So this table has actually all these information. Okay. So here it says the sutures immovable, sutures of the skull. But syndesmosis is like this has very slight give. So more or less memorize this table to know the type of movement and the major example. So tibia to fibula. So in tibia to fibula here, extremely slight give, but it's not much. It doesn't really affect the movement, but it's just there. Synchondrosis. So sternum, synchondrosis. So again, no movement at all, but it's just the type of joint that exists. So we said for symphysis is the in the pubic bone, as we said. So there is slight movement during childbirth, hopefully quite a bit of movement. So it's the fibrous cartilage that connects the two bones. Okay, what's next? Diarthrosis. So that's your typical synovial joint. So you have different types. So you have a plane, hinge, pivot, condyloid, ball and socket, and socket. So plane. If you want to just go back to that table. I'll look at the sets of the vertebra. So if you look at the vertebra. If you look at the vertebra, the way the facets are connected, they can only move in a certain plane. So either move forwards, or in some cases, can move backward. Sides. So it's side bending or lateral bending is allowed by the facets. So they glide on each other. The hinge is movement in one plane, so like a knee or like an elbow. Pivot. Movement around a single axis. First cervical vertebra and second. Yeah. No. We'll get to the hip actually. So a pivot is movement in one plane, more or less like in a circular movement. So the
atlas, is it the atlas that does
that?
it?
You have your atlas. So the way it works is that the skull is attached to the atlas, and the pivot, the movement that the joint that allows you to move your head left to right, is the pivot between the first and the second cervical vertebra. that make sense? So when you think of your head moving, your head does not move by itself. Your head is more or less cemented to the first vertebra. And the pivot joint exists between the first and the second vertebra. Condyloid is your wrist two-direction movement, so it can your foot or your ankle, as we more commonly think of it, is also a condyloid. So it moves in two directions, so you can move. It moves up and down, and it moves laterally. So that's a condyloid joint. Ball and socket is your head. So a ball and socket is just exactly as it sounds. You have ball, in this case the head of the femur, and a socket. Also the same goes for your shoulder. Saddle is movement in two planes, and it's only found in your thumb. So it's just the thumb's movement is just really strange. You can pull a picture of how the joint looks, but it's just your ability to move your thumb in more than one direction is made possible by the saddle joint.
And how do we know, like, for the test, if they want us to?
Well, so this is fair game for both lecture and lab. So she can ask a simple question such as, give me an example of a saddle joint. And you would just put, what did it say here? The joint of the thumb, or the carpal metacarpal, because you have your carpal and you have your metacarpal, which is why it's a little different than the thumb. So you have your carpal joint, your carpal bones, and you have your metacarpals. In your foot, you have your tarsals and your metatarsals.
Okay. So,
just to show you here. So in the foot, these are your tarsal bones, and you have 7 of them. And these are your metatarsals. You have 5 of them, 1 for each of the 5 digits. In your hand, you have, I think 8. Don't quote me on that. The carpal bones. In a similar orientation, just pull a picture of it. And then you have your metacarpals, which are we typically think of as your hand. And so the saddle joint is not here where you would think of it. It's actually down here. It connects the carpal and the metacarpal bone. So we call it carpal metacarpal joint. So let me just find a picture. So here, 1, 2, 3. Nope, I was wrong. There's 7. Okay. So here, so you have your carpal bones right here. You will eventually memorize them. You don't have to worry about them right now. And you have your metacarpals, and here is your saddle joints. So it's between your carpal bones and your carpal bones right here, and your metacarpal. So right here is your saddle joint. Let me see if I have a clearer picture of it. But yeah, so for the test, when it comes to the joints, you will have to be able to name an example. Yeah, there's no close-ups. You'll have to be able to name an example and explain the movement. So for example, you would have to know that a saddle joint moves in 2 planes, that a knee moves in 1 plane. So I would know the extent of the movement. So for example, your suture joint doesn't move much at all. So know the level, whether it moves a lot, moves a little. And then know the plane of the movement, and know an example. So obviously, if there can be more than one example, you just have to provide one. Okay. It just says provide an example.
So getting back to the ankle, I thought, the ankle, it said you're talking about like moving in 2 planes like the wrist, but like didn't the ankle do like 4 planes? Doesn't it do like extension, flexation, or is that something different? Adduction, abduction?
Are you talking about I'm trying to just remember the name of the. So you have. Okay.
I have to go back to maybe if I find it on here.
So it depends which joints are moving.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
It's not all the same joints.
Yes.
And
Got
so
it.
and just using the word here, I think I know what you're talking about. So you have your plantar flexion, and you have your dorsal flexion. Then you have your inversion and eversion. But it's just different bones.
But it's different bones, so it's not exactly. Yeah, I get it. I can't find when I saw that. I don't know, I just read that.
So there's one of the key and one of the two.